Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. We are with Jason Spicy G Goldman. If you're just tuning in, he's a Grammy-winning music producer, arranger, songwriter, three-time Grammy nominated. God, what's that feel like? Three-time Juno winner. He's got the new G-Note podcast. New episodes drop every Thursday. It's a podcast for musicians who want advice and strategies on navigating the music industry. Jason talks all things music. And this is the man to get the advice from. You can follow and find Jason on Goldman, music.com. Jason Goldman music.com, on Instagram at Spicy G Music. Welcome back, Jason. Really good stuff here. We're kind of going through some of these podcasts that you've put up. There are 5 up so far. And take some time, take a little time for yourself and catch up on these. If you love music, if you want to be in the music industry, if you just want to bite your nails and sweat as Jason goes through some of these experiences along with him, do that too. It's really a good podcast. Okay, so episode 4, the art of not being in control. You talk about not being in control all the time, and having trust in your team is extremely important to being successful. That's sort of the tip and the topic. Uh, I'm curious about you as a producer. You're organized. You've established that you're talented in music, and people really like to work with you. But do you gravitate like personality wise? Do you have this like do you fight that kind of I got to be in control demon? Because you're so organized and you know kind of what you want. And have you
Yeah,
learned to let go a little bit? And how did you
yeah,
learn that lesson?
sure.
3-part question.
Yeah, it's a three-parter for sure. As a producer, we're always at the service of the artist. 99% of the time, we're at the service of the artist. So this particular episode is more for artists in particular because a lot of artists they believe that the success happens because of them. And while some of it does, it's really everyone else around them that is helping to really make this the magic that it potentially is or can be. And so we on this particular episode, we talk about that and we talk about the modern day era, which is, I think I give an example on this particular episode of Quincy Jones. He's one of my favorite producers. When there's a video, an interview around that everyone always kind of knows, which is the one where they were working on Off the Wall, and there's a string thing in there that's like on Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. I think it's like that string intro, and Michael says to him, he's like, "Man, Quincy, I think we need to take that out. It's kind of throwing my groove." And Quincy was like, "Nope, not taking that out at all." And my point in this, and again, you can listen to the episode for the longer version of this, but that really doesn't happen as much anymore because everyone used to have their defined jobs, and everyone would trust that people in those positions and people who had those jobs were the best that they could be at those jobs. Now, because songs are not made the same way anymore and labels don't function the same way anymore, it's just like the artist wants it the way they want it. There's no outside ears most of the time listening. There's no one telling the artist like, "Hey, this isn't that great," or doesn't feel that great. And to me, arguably, it's actually uh I don't it's actually hurt music a lot, in my opinion, especially when we're talking about pop music and hit songs, because hit songs are kind of starting to go away. There's not really that many. I always say to people, "Where's the next Don't Stop Believing? Where is that song? Have we heard something that of that caliber that's going to go and stand throughout the test of time?" And I think it's just becoming a bigger and bigger problem as we go on because there's not other outside people that are saying, "Hey, that's not a good idea," or maybe we can do this a lot better than what you're proposing because it doesn't sound like it's that strong of an idea. And so that's really this episode.
So what do you, that's a really great point. You're talking now, let's imagine you're in the ear of hundreds of thousands of musicians out there right now, and they're hanging on your every word. And let's stop and just like pinpoint what is Spicy what do you Spicy G, what do you say to them directly, like to let go of some of that control, and how do they interact with those musicians? I'm in a studio, I'm a new music artist. What do you tell me? How do I just take what you suggested and
Sure.
explained, and how do I use that? Do I interact with musicians differently? Do I ask for more advice? Do I tell everybody to be honest? What do I do? What's
Um,
the best
the
best thing
best
as a music artist?
the best way, in my opinion, is number one, the artist has to, of course, talk through their opinions and talk through what they're looking for. So you go with the flow in the beginning, but and you have to be very politically correct about it. Like the way I do it a lot of times is I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a cool idea. Let's say someone came up with an idea and I'm like thinking in my head, like, this is really not that good. Or I think we could do it a lot better. I may be like, hey, what if we tried something like this, instead? And what do you think about that? Like, so what you try to do, and this is something that I've learned throughout all of my producing, it's like I'm watching the interactions. Again, yes, I have been lucky to watch David Foster produce, and I've worked with him a bunch, but that's like a different animal. Like he's at the top of the chain. We underlings have to always think about how we present these ideas to the artist, rather than saying, hey, this progression has been used 50 billion times. Maybe go, hey, what do you think of this instead of what we have now? Maybe this gives it a little more of a unique thing. So you're presenting it almost like as a question, even though in your mind you're like, man, this is far better than what is being proposed right now by the artist. And then sometimes I even have to get buy-in, like, hey, what do you think about this? And then be like, well, and I'll say, do you think maybe one chord should be changed or something? Like you almost like have them participate because artists want buy-in, right? They want to feel, I mean, and this is really a secret. In order to get an artist to really do something that you want, they need to buy into what you're selling in essence.
Yeah.
And you need to make them feel that they are a part of that process so that they buy into it, you know?
Mm.
And that's
Trust.
really what I do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Trust.
trust and honesty. I love it. All right, this is going to be our final break, but the great thing about our breaks is we get to play music by Jason Spicy G Goldman. Jason, we've got I mean, you got when we come back, we're going to talk about some of your projects. You've got the big band, you've got the Fridays, which I believe is a new project. You're always working on something. We're going to listen to a little bit of the Fridays right now going to break. And Steve Tyrell says of Jason, one of the most exciting arrangers around. He's a throwback from the golden age of the great big band writers. What a compliment, but well deserved. Get yourself to Herb Alpert's Vibrato Grill and Jazz for a night of the American Songbook with Jason Spicy G Goldman and the 17 Big Band with featured vocalist Olivia Morelli and Natalie Hannah Mendoza, special guest Brenna Whitaker. It's on March 28th, 6 and 9:30. Um, get your tickets now and also go to jasongoldmanmusic.com. Follow him on Instagram at Spicy G Music. We'll be right back to find out what's next for Jason and talk about his bands. Fascinating, fascinating time with him.